Hey guys, Jeffries here, and welcome to episode 3 of my FIFA 14 career as Fleetwood Town. I think I'm probably going to end up calling this series like Building from the Bottom Up or something like that. I'm going to give it a catchy name because FIFA 14 Fleetwood Town, that sounds a bit boring. I'm going to give it a jazzy name, try and drum up some more interest. Anyway, formations, that's what I was going to talk about, formations. You see I've gone straight in with the 4-2-3-1. It's a formation that it's been argued in the past doesn't work with lower league teams, and it in some cases doesn't even work with European teams and Premier League teams, but I like it. For me, it works. The fact that you have two deep-lying midfielders who cover the back four if necessary. You've got the two wingers. You've got the cam right behind the striker who tends to follow up the ball quite a lot. If he doesn't follow up, then the two midfielders, the holding midfielders, one of them will come forward. Both of those holding midfielders can also go wide if they need to, so they could do overlapping runs with the wingers. And the actual wing backs, left back and right back, they do quite a lot of overlapping runs as well, which I quite like to see. I think it's coming up soon. You get to see a really good link-up play between my right-sided players, I think it is, something like that. But yeah, you know, you get a good understanding. All your players work together. They can all play in different positions if need to. And you know, I just like it, really. It's a really good formation. Mainly because of the defensive coverage. I think that's why I like it, with those two holding midfielders. Because I do tend to get caught out quite a lot defensively when I over-attack. I think that's the nicest, fairest way of saying it. But yeah, you know, you saw in the last video, I transfer listed virtually the entire team. So I'm going to focus on signing players that I can actually fit into this system. You got to get your tactics right as well, so I've gone for a high pressure tactic, so we try and win the ball as high up the pitch as we can, which in some ways is really beneficial, because it means you can actually end up scoring from their attacks if you win the ball in their half. Now two players are going to help me fulfill this formation and keep the ball rolling, as it were, pardon the pun. We got Pedro Azog, who's signed, who I'm, as I've said, I raved about him in the last video. I raved about him the whole way through my Barnet career. And Tim Payne, who again, I spoke very fondly of. They're two really good players. You see Azog go straight into my first team. There's no question of a doubt as to whether he'd make the cut or not. Payne at the moment, just because his rating isn't as high as I thought it would be, actually, 56. I mean, it's good for his age, but it's not as good as I thought he would be, because I'm pretty sure he was rated higher in FIFA 13. So for now, he's on the bench. Yes, he's on the bench. And you're probably thinking, why have you dropped Johnson? And the reason being is because of his age. And I'm starting to sound like someone who's really ageist right now, but in fairness, the type of football I play with the high tempo and the fast runs and just pace, he really wouldn't fit into my team. He'd get caught out quite a lot. I don't think he'd be fast enough. And yes, I'm sorry guys, it is to do with his age, because I think, as anyone will tell you, once they hit 30, their legs start to go. And you see it a lot. Players like Gerrard and Lampard, who used to run forward nearly all the time, especially Lampard now, he tends to play the holding role for Chelsea a lot more often. He does still get forward, obviously, and he does still score goals, but he doesn't run forward as much. He's more of a placement player now, so he gets into the right place at the right time. He doesn't physically run there all the time. I could just be being harsh on them, though. I'm not an expert in football, as it were. I just pick up a controller and play. So yeah, apologies if I've offended anyone there, but that's just my opinion. I like fast players, therefore I tend to go for younger players with a good pace rating. You see, you got players there like, I think that was Parker. Sprint speed is in the orange. Straight away, don't want you. You're not going to be fast enough. You're not going to fit in with my style of play. I'm going to be playing through balls all the time through to him, and he's not going to get on the end of any of them. Which, I mean, that's really frustrating. I think anyone can tell you, if you play a really good pass on FIFA and the player you've played it to isn't fast enough to get on the end of it, that's one of the worst feelings in the game. Especially if you then concede a goal from it, which has happened to me a few times in the past. You just want to tear your hair out, to be quite honest. Especially if you're playing online as well, because you can just feel your opposition laughing at you because they knew as much as you did. Yeah, so we've got Zog, we've got Payne. We're starting to get transfer offers in as well, which is good, because it means I'm getting more money to spend on more players, which that's how I start a career. I think at one point I do ask the board for extra money, but they're very rarely going to give it to you so early in the game because they don't know whether you're going to spend it wisely or not. So the only way to make money is to sell players. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to sell as many players as I can, loan out as many players as I can, get as much money as I can, and put it straight back into the team. You've already seen I spent a huge chunk of my budget on a youth scout, which hopefully I'll be reaping the rewards from that come January when I've got at least, say, 2 16-year-olds that I can bring through and start developing. I'd like a couple of 14 and 15-year-olds as well, just to nurture and bring them up for the season coming after this one and the one after that. It's always good to have that sort of weapon in your arsenal, as it were. Having players coming through youth academy who you sort of know a bit about, especially when you look at the projected rates and they're up in the 60s and the 70s. You just think, oh, we're going to have a really good player here. Even when their current is like low 50s, that's pretty good as well. What are we looking at now? We're looking at our first scout report from the Global Transfer Network. And straight away I see Michael Boswick's name on there, which, surprised me, because again, as it's well known, I'm a Steamish fan. Michael Boswick, I know him very well indeed. I know he has a very good long strike. I know he doesn't shy out of a tackle. And I know that, he's a really good young player. I think he's only 24, 25 years old now. And considering how good he is at that age, that's, he could end up in the Premier League one day, I reckon. I think he's in the wrong league with Peterborough at the moment, that's for sure. He should be in the Championship, which he was last season, of course, but you couldn't stop them going down. I'm just taking a little swipe there because I don't like Peterborough that much. Anyway, I digress again. I do that a lot in this series, and all my other videos for that matter. Players sold. We have sold, I think that was Nathan Pond. It was Nathan Pond. And on top of that, the board have turned down my request for extra funds, which I knew would happen. I said it would happen. It's the usual trick if they don't trust me enough in the job yet, which, I can't complain. I understand that perfectly. All I can do really is start playing well and hope that they change their minds in January time. That's the plan. And look, I'm dropping Johnson again. I'm determined. He's too old. He is too old for my team. He's always been too old for my team, from this year onwards anyway, because last year would have been a year younger, but again, that's not the point. He's too old, he's too slow. His passing is probably going as well. He won't have a very good long shot towards the end of your career. Just everything seems to go. So I'd much rather have players that I know in my team as well, and I don't know Johnson very well. I do know Schumacher from his Bury days. I know Azog, obviously. I know Parkin and I know Ball because I've played previous career modes on both FIFA and Football Manager where I've signed them. So yeah, it's just a case of fiddling with the team now. Junior Brown, I know of. I believe he was in my Barnet career. Yes, he was. He played left back for me when Langerman was injured. Again, that's a player I could have signed actually. Didn't really think about that. Could have. Well, he might not even be on the list. I'll have to have a look and see if Kelhar's on here as well because he's a player that I got on well with. It'd be like a little Barnet reunion by the end of this series. Anyway, setting the team up. That's what we're doing. We are setting the team up because we're going to go running into pre-season and we're going to win every single match. That's the plan. And then we're going to go into the league and we're going to win every single match. And we're going to win the league and we're just going to keep getting promoted. So yeah, that's the plan, guys. And until next time, I will see you soon.